Hello everyone and welcome to another exciting episode of Johnny Cast. Recorded live on April 2nd, 2024, given to you pre-recorded whenever. How's everyone doing? This is my first ever kind of audio podcast. Well, that's not true. I used to do a thing called CarCast where I would record myself in my car doing a little podcast. But, I check the comments on the channel occasionally, and I noticed that a lot of people were asking for more CarCast, which was really surprising for me as someone who likes to, put in a lot of effort into the things I do. So it kind of weirds me out when people like the very low effort content. For example, I put a lot of effort into the show I did the other day, at this point, it's been a couple weeks, called Breaking New Grounds. But, me drinking a soda in my car got way more views. Whatever, I'm not here to get salty, even though I'm already salty. So this is Johnny Cast. I have a little docket here of things I want to talk about, things I want to say, things I want you to hear, things I want you to hear at home. Let's start off with a segment I wrote down called "What is Wrong with Me?" This is our hot news segments here. The first one on the docket is "What is wrong with me?" Every time it gets suggested to me on YouTube, I have to watch those videos where those guys, they just drop things off of a bridge or a very high place. That's all the content is. They're just dropping one thing from a high location and watching it land. It's like three, I want to say Australian, but I think they're from New Zealand. For the life of me, I can't tell you any of their fucking names, but I like their content. Well, I don't like their content. I have this weird lizard brain where I have to watch their content. It's similar to, I've talked about this on my live streams, but there's a channel called Storer, and there are a bunch of British boys in it who do parkour, and that's just those are good though. There's no problem watching Storer. Check out Storer, Storror, I think it's how you spell it. They do a little whistle. It's like pew 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 pew. What the fuck am I talking about? Anyway, so there's this YouTube channel where these dudes from New Zealand, they drop things off of usually a dam in like Switzerland, and they just watch it hit shit. So it's like, today we're throwing marbles off of this bridge, and we're gonna watch if it lands on me mate's head. That's the content. It gets millions of views. I'm sure you watching this right now have seen these videos. That's how popular they are. The channel I wrote down here, it's called How Ridiculous. So that's what I'm saying. How ridiculous that such a ridiculous idea is getting millions of views. I do say so myself. Anyway, chat, YouTube comments, what is wrong with me? Why do I watch these videos? Why do I watch these videos at 3 in the morning? Why do I not stop till 5 in the morning when I just pass out from being up too late? I feel like they're designed by a lab of fucking scientists to make me specifically watch them late at night. But there you go. Next segment, we're going to get into some video game shit here. I've been playing Final Fantasy Rebirth in my Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in my spare time. And I feel like I'm deep enough in where I can finally give somewhat of a review. I haven't beaten it yet, so my feelings could suddenly change at post me beating it. Obviously, I want to have kind of the full picture before I, give my actual thoughts, but I just wanted to give a little check-in and tell you guys how I'm feeling about it currently. I think I'm about 50% into the game. No spoilers, but I reached the golden saucer. If you played the original game, you kind of know what that means. Or if you played this new one, you know what that means. So I just wanted to give my thoughts so far. You know, I'll say it. I'm getting a little tired of it. I think it's become very, very, very repetitive. I think the structure of the game feels like they came up with core concepts of what you need to do in this game, and then they just started repeating it. Like they just hit Control C, Control V. It's like new area. You do your whatever side quests. And then whenever you're done doing your side quests, you do a like legacy dungeon. The legacy dungeon usually involves like your party getting split up. You fight a boss. You get rejoined together. You fight another boss. Then you go to a new location, mini game, and then you rinse and repeat. It's been like that since at first, the first 3 times or first 2 times I'll say it happened. I kind of was like, oh, this is fun. There's like little mini games. I'm doing a lot of side quests. I'm trying to get all the proto relics. But then I started to see the code on like the 4th kind of instance of it where I started to feel like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to beat it. I don't think it's the worst game I've ever played. I just think it's, I don't know if it's laziness or just crunch. I know with AAA games it's kind of hard nowadays because, there's a big expectation of what a AAA game is, and I feel like people, I feel like we hit the ceiling on what people like. Our imaginations will always, imagine the next thing, and I just don't think technology is there. So like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is beautiful looking, and I feel like a lot of energy went into the look of it, and maybe not the substance. But yeah, like what I wrote down here on top of getting tired of it is too many mini games. I was enjoying the mini games, and now I'm just like I don't want to do them anymore, and it's getting less and less optional as it continues. It's like more and more you have to do this mini game to continue, and I just don't want to. I don't want to do these mini games. I've had the game set to medium, by the way, so it's been fairly difficult. I've been kind of surprised how difficult the game has been. I mean, the original is pretty hard, but I haven't really died many times. But I might set the game to easy just because I don't want to do the mini games. I want those to be easy, and maybe set it back to medium when I get past said mini games. What else have I wrote? What else did I write down here? Oh, I'm getting sick of Yuffie. Yuffie used to be like the cool character when you're like when you're a kid. You're like, oh, I found this character. She's so cool. She's a ninja. She throws ninja stars. It's so sick. But now as an adult, I'm like, burn this. Like, throw it in the trash. I'm tired of the way she talks. I'm just gonna blame everything on Nomura because he's writing this shit. But I feel like what used to be a cool kind of side lore option with like the Wutai stuff has become just blatantly like thrown in my face. And then with the animeification of everything, it's just so annoying. Like she's always like, "Did I do that? You can't say that to Barrett. I'm the best in the West. I'm gonna shut the fuck up." I'm so tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it. I just want to see Cloud. I just want to see my boys Cloud and Barrett have a good time. I want to hang with Tifa and I want to hang with Aerith. And that's it. I'll get Yuffie in the original game as just because it's cool to get everyone, but like, shut the fuck up, Yuffie. I don't know. That's where I'm at. Yesterday it hit up like I just got Yuffie and it's been like I can't hang. I can't hang with Yuffie. It makes me concerned for later characters. Like, how annoying is Vincent going to be? Like, these were optional characters in the original game. It's like, they're just thrown in my face and just being annoying. Anyway, that's enough about that. So far, getting pretty tired of the game. Not hating it. The gameplay is still solid. but it's starting to feel repetitive. And those are my thoughts currently on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I give it a 3 out of 5. Shouts out Adam Sessler. What's he doing now? Can we get a Google on Adam Sessler? I'm looking at a computer right now, but I'm not going to Google him. All right, next thing on my docket here. I went to a hardcore show last Friday to be more specific. I saw the band Kubla Khan, TX. You got to add the TX because it's important that you know they're from the South. Yeah, it was at the Anaheim House of Blues, and I was kind of terrified at first to go. I tend to go to shows by myself a lot because I just don't have many friends on the West Coast. In general, just, being a person who moved from the East Coast to the West, I kind of realized how many of my friends are, digital now, as sad as that sounds. But, yeah, I have a lot of people all over the world because of, being on the internet. I'm sure if I tried harder, I could get people to, I go to shows with people all the time. It's just, I don't have a lot of friends who are into hardcore. And, I'm hoping over time that the more shows I go to, the more, I'm not very good at, introducing myself to people, but I find it, when I was younger, I would go to chiptune shows, and I would kind of, through osmosis, meet friends and make connections, life connections. But I'm not really having that happen at hardcore shows because I feel like everyone's just, trying to be hard and, cross-armed and be like, yeah, I'm just here to fucking kick. I'm just here to beat people up. But it may partially be my fault because I don't like talking to strangers. I've had people come up to me at shows and talk to me, and I'm like, yeah, cool, go away. So maybe in the future, I'll be more open to that. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about this show in particular. The first band let me roll it back. Yeah, I was nervous to go because it was in some weird mall in Anaheim that I've never been to. I'm always concerned about parking in general. Coming from New York, I was so used to just hopping on the subway and going wherever the fuck, and it being fine. But in other places, you kind of have to know where you're putting your car. So that was kind of concerning at first, but parking was easy. Great story, Johnny. But I got in there and it was the weirdest mall I've ever seen in my life. It's I'm already not very used to outdoor malls. That's a strange concept to me because where I'm from, all the malls are inside. And if you said outdoor mall to someone in New Jersey, they just assume you meant a shopping mall, or not shopping mall, one of those areas where there's 3 stores next to each other and there's a Chick-fil-A at the end. I don't know what those are called. It's I'm sure someone will leave a comment. God, it's gonna annoy me that I don't know what that's called. It's a shopping center. Anyway, so outdoor malls are already a strange concept to me, but then this one had sculptures of dragons, and then there was a cafe / magic shop, like illusion magic, not Magic the Gathering. I wanted to go in so bad, but being by myself, I kind of was too scared to just enter a magic shop cafe. But I'm hoping in the future I can, get over it and go in there, because I will be back. And then there was if you follow me on Instagram, I posted in my stories, but there was a storefront that was the girl from The Ring, coming out of the wall, and it was gigantic. And I was like, what the fuck is this? A couple arcades in there, with DDR machines, just a straight up Street Fighter 4 machine. I was hyped, and I wanted really bad to just skip the show and explore this mall because this is the Johnny method, and I'm sure a lot of people out there do this as well. But I tend to just I'll do a little loop. I'll walk past a place I'm supposed to go into just to kind of get the vibe. I think it's just anxiety, but I need to kind of like, I'll drive past a place too, like, oh, okay, that's where I'm going. It looks cool. Just to give myself the option of like, all right, that's fucked. Let me just leave. I like to have that second of thought before I kind of enter a new situation. So when I got to the mall, I walked up to the House of Blues and was like, okay, there's a lot of dudes with mullets, a lot of younger people. It never feels good being the oldest person at the venue, but that's the greatest thing about getting into hardcore music is because hardcore music has existed since the fucking 80s. So there's so many old heads. There's so many older people that like keep up with hardcore. And that's so I never feel like if I go to a 100 Gex show, I'm the oldest man there, oldest person there, and it feels bad. There's a couple bands that I listen to where I'm like, oh, I might not want to go to these shows anymore because I just look like a weirdo. And I've never been like, I know there's a lot of like people out there like, oh, be wary of the old head scene guy, the dude in the scene that's been there forever, like he's preying on everyone. And I don't want to be perceived as that. I just want to be in the room, hear a band, play the songs I like. I've always, even when I was younger, that's all I ever wanted to do is just like be at the show, hear the songs, go home. Anyway, so I felt a little out of place at first. I got in line to get into the venue. I got there a little early. They didn't open the doors yet. And I'm just surrounded by teens. And they're just having conversations. And there's always a moment where you kind of, as an adult or an older person, you kind of feel lame when you're surrounded by teens. But then once you start to hear teens talk, it clicks. Well, maybe this is just more for me. Like it clicks. Like, they just, the teens that were by me were just saying the lamest shit ever. And I was like, oh yeah, I was exactly like that was me. I thought I was so cool making jokes that I thought were funny that are not funny. And so I'm just like I'm trying not to eavesdrop, but just like, it's right next to me. You're going to hear, and I'm just hearing these teens just like be really unfunny. Not saying it's a bad thing, but it's, just like part of life. Like, you always think you're the shit. There's always a moment in your life where you're like, I'm the shit. Me and my friends are the shit. They should film us, man. They should put us on TV. So yeah, it made me feel better. Like, okay, everyone's lame. I'm not lame. I mean, I may be lame, but I kind of got over that hurdle. God, is this show just gonna be like therapy for me? Like, is this gonna be fucked up? Like, are you guys just gonna be like, know way too much about my anxiety and like know weird ways to terrify me? Okay. So, I was in line for like 30 minutes. This is a funny story, but I was so hungry before I got there. So I found a CVS and I was like, what's the fastest thing I could eat while walking back? And obviously it was those like beef jerky sticks with the cheese, like where it's like the 2-pack. It's like the best friends combo. And I was, I don't know how y'all eat those, but I eat them together. Like I hold them together and I just bite both because it's meat and cheese. Like that's cool. I had a friend who was like, "You're disgusting for doing that," but I'm like, "How else do you eat it? It's a fucking like what? Do I take a hamburger apart? It's meat and cheese. Like it's like a fucking they go together." Anyway, so I crushed 2 of those in like it may have been a record how fast I ate those. But then I just had the fucking wrappers in my pocket. And while I was waiting in line, I put my hands in my pocket and I'm like, oh God, there's these fucking meat wrappers. And I tend to like rub my nose a lot. So I rub my nose and I'm like, oh no, my fingers, they smell like meat. Like it smelled like fucking beef jerky. And so I started getting really self-conscious. I'm like, I need to throw this out. I need to throw this fucking meat bags into the fucking trash. But I don't know what was up with this mall, but there was no fucking trash cans. There were 0 trash cans. Until I got into the venue, and then I was like, well, there was like a security, like a pat down. And I was like, oh god, they're gonna find these fucking meat wrappers on me and be like, well, my first fear was that I was gonna keep them in my pocket, and they were gonna be like, well, sir, what's in your pocket? I think it was like bags of drugs or something. But it's like, oh no, it's just they're just Jack Links. What's Jack Links? Huh? Is that some type of lingo for fentanyl? And then they arrest me, detain me, throw me in hardcore jail. Hardcore jail is just like a guy spin kicking in the room with you, and he may hit you. So I get into the venue, and it's huge. It's a house of blues. And so I know for certain I'm just going to find a spot, stand there, and or a spot in the back. Usually I stand by the sound booth, and that's what I did. And it was great. The first band, Momentum, came on. They're from California. They fucking tore it up. You know, there is another moment being an older dude at a hardcore show where you're like, oh, the people in the bands are young too. So Momentum, I was just like, damn, these dudes are young. They're fucking tearing it up. And I was just impressed. Great breakdowns. People were fucking two-stepping every which way. People were spin kicking, but the pit was never crazy. I could barely even see the pit from where I was standing. I was so happy. I was like, oh, I don't even have to keep my arms up. No one's crowd killing. It was great. The next band, Judiciary. God, why did I drink a fucking soda before this? I just keep burping. Judiciary from Texas. This was the band of the night for me. Like, I'd never heard this band before. They have a cool name. They have a cool logo. I almost bought a shirt immediately, but the merch line was crazy. I'll just buy it online. But yeah, they were just very melodic. I wouldn't say it was like melodic hardcore, but like it's that type of hardcore where you kind of hear like the 80s thrash in it. Like there was some oh yeah, you fuck with fucking Exodus or some shit. You listen to a lot of Metallica when you're younger, but yeah, but just like straight up fucking hardcore in the middle, a little metalcore, death metal thrown in. Great mosh sections. Oh, this just became an episode of Hardlore. What's up, people? Welcome to Hardlore. Anyway, great mosh sections. I say as a person who doesn't know how to mosh or spin kick. There was a great line. The lead singer said, like, he was like, Anaheim, I've seen you guys moshing. Now get to spinning. And then like everyone just started spin kicking. Yeah, shouts out Judiciary. Check them out. I immediately followed them on Twitter after their set was done. But next up was the band I was here to see. Not Kubla Khan, but Tsunami. A band that I got into right when I got broken up with, and it was like the most evil fucking noisy hardcore that I could just throw on, go to the gym and like lift weights. They have a song called Contempt of Cop that's fucking lit. And I've always wanted to see them live, so this was my first chance to get to see them live. They come out, the crowd is fucking buzzing because they're from California, and they're kind of a big California band right now. I would say it's like them and Scalp, or like, I don't know what I'm talking about. From my perspective, them and Scalp are kind of the biggest California bands. Oh, and Drain, obviously Drain. They started with known tracks. The thing with hardcore is I don't know any track names. I listen to the songs and it's hard to differentiate sometimes. That is my one fake fan moment. They obviously played Contempt of Cop and I lost my shit. But I do want to be critical. I do want to be critical of the band Tsunami. They sound, well, they're a fairly new band. They only have like an EP or a couple of EPs out. I don't know if they have a full length album out, but they played so fast and it felt very much like, all right, get through the set and move on. The other thing is, I mean, their recordings are kind of shit anyway, but that's kind of the mystique. But it just didn't hit as hard live. Maybe it's because the House of Blues has such a nice audio setup, but it wasn't hitting, and I don't know how to explain it. Like, it was cool. Like, I was glad I got to see them live, but it felt rushed and just not, like, I don't know. The music, it just didn't hit. In my head, I kind of imagined it playing in a basement maybe hits harder, or like a smaller venue, but I think once they start making new music, this will be remedied, because I think they're a great band. I just think, these like demos and earlier, or their current songs are probably just songs they wrote and recorded a long time ago, and like having to play them in bigger and bigger venues is probably hitting its limit. And so I think once they start writing new tracks, with bigger sounds, I think they'll just 10 out of 10. Anyway, the final band, Kubla Khan. I was not ready for how crazy. The whole time I was, like I said before, the pit was never really getting in my way, and then Kubla came out and hit the first song, and then 3 pits opened up, and I'm getting pushed into the sound booth. There's a dude. The whole show, he had like a child on his shoulders, and before Kubla Khan started, this giant man with long hair and his girlfriend just stood in front of me, and this dude's hair is just in my fucking face. I was so mad. If you go to a show, don't just stand in front of some, like make sure there's actual space. I know you want to see the band, but like, I've been standing there since like 7 p.m. It's fucking midnight or 11 at this point. Like, it's like cutting in line. I feel like people don't have there. I feel like there's no show etiquette, and I feel like we as a society need to develop one or something. But yeah, this dude stood in my fucking face with his long hair, and my fucking like was getting in my mouth. It was gross. But right before they start, he turns to his girlfriend. He's like, "All right, babe, I'm gonna go in. I'll see you later." Kisses her and leaves. And there's just this girl next to me now, and like a couple rows in front was this dude holding his child on his shoulders. And when Kubla Khan hits, all these pits open, and this dude just getting pushed back. The dude with holding his child into me. And behind me, there's a wall. Like there's like it goes up a level behind me, and there's just like a little wall where like the people on the next level can kind of put their arms on the little wall. So I'm getting pushed in this wall, and I kind of turn to the guy. I'm like, "Hey," I tried not. I don't want to be rude at all. I don't want to start shit. I just was like really kindly like, "Hey man, like there's no space behind me, and you're like pushed, like I'm just getting squished." Like I said, it's so nice. And he was like, "What do you want?" He turned to me and like shot me a look and said like, "What do you want me to do? They're pushing me." And I was like, "Okay." I bit my tongue, because it's like, one, you're at a hardcore show with a child on your shoulders. With a fucking child. How did this child was this an all ages show? No ear protection either. Like, don't be in the fucking pit with your fucking child. Anyway, I will say he did try to course correct, and he like kind of moved left of me. But then I'm seeing that girl that her boyfriend went into the pit. She's getting fucking pinned against the wall. And so I was like, "Hey man, I'm so sorry to bother you, but there's someone behind you, and you're like they're getting squished." Like I was there to be helpful, and he kind of said the same thing, like, I don't know. And then he kind of looked at me and said, like, do you want to get in front of me, like, so you can see better? And in my head, I'm like, I just don't want to be here anymore. And I just said yes. He went in front of me, and I just pushed my way out of the pit, went to the other level, and noticed they were playing the whole show on a screen. And I just watched the rest of the show from there. And it was really enjoyable because it's like I could kind of still see the band, but I get this like great shot of it, and there's like people all around the screens like still dancing and stuff. So I don't know why that guy didn't just do that. It was so much more enjoyable. And the kid probably would have had a fucking great time regardless. Anyway, Kublai Khan opened with the meme song, the Monkey See Monkey Do song. That's all I really know. And then they did that song where it's like where they say bitch, before the breakdown. And then I left early because I kind of just wanted to go. After Tsunami, I that's all I really wanted to see. Kublai Khan, great fucking band. And I caught like most of the set, so I won't say I like left, but like I left right as they said, like, we got a couple left. Like, so I feel like I saw most of the set. It was good. So that was the Kublai Khan show. How long have I been going for? About 30 minutes? Okay. You know, I started this and I thought I would just run out of things to say like a minute in, but apparently I got the gift of gab. All right. The final segment of the evening is wrestling news. Bing, bing. Maybe I'll add a noise there. I don't know. Like a cool theme song or something. All right, strap in, guys. This is wrestling news. We got a lot to talk about. Your boy and my boy, well, not my boy anymore. I've been betrayed. Just kidding. CM Punk. He's talking a lot of shit. He's talking a lot of shit. So, if you're unaware, CM Punk was on the show, the MMA Hour, hosted by, I'm going to butcher this guy's name. I think it's Ariel Helwani. I think that's it. He has a talk show. It's like a YouTube talk show. He kind of goes for like 5 hours, has guests pop in and out. Mostly about combat sports. He has a lot of wrestlers on, but this this instance he had your boy CM Punk. So obviously, you know, it started off pretty fluffy. It was like a lot of like, oh, you're back in WWE, and CM Punk was like, yeah, I'm having a great time. That's my CM Punk impression. But then it turned quickly for the worst. Ariel, I think it's Ariel. He started softball throwing the AEW questions out there. And eventually got him to open up, got CM Punk to open up and start saying some dirt. He got, to put it in wrestling terms, he got CM Punk to start shooting on AEW. When asked about his former employer, Tony Khan, Punk had this to say, quote, "It's a loaded question because I don't like the drama, but the truth is the truth. He's not a boss. He's a nice guy, and I think ultimately this is a detriment to the company, but it's not my company." He went on to say, quote, "I'm an outsider. I thought I was brought in to sell merchandise and tickets and draw numbers for pay-per-views and stuff. And I clearly did that, but that's not what the place was about at some point. And some people didn't like that." So just to unpack that a little bit here, you know, I don't understand this era of CM Punk just being like, it's about making money, it's about drawing. You know, later in this interview, he kind of dunks on Dave Meltzer saying like, you know, how are you going to have a half full arena while some doofus is giving out 5 stars? All I have to say is like, how very not Punk of you, CM Punk. Like, you're concerned with, even in this interview, he kind of makes a statement on like, oh, billionaires, am I right? But you're saying how much you care about making money. You don't think you're making billionaires money while you're drawing houses in the WWE? Like, what do you think is happening? You don't think you're adding to corporate greed? You don't think you're a part of the system? Like he acts like he's this like fucking outsider, but it's like, no, like if you're going to sit here and say it's about making money and not about putting on a good show or having a good product, you're no better than any billionaire. So I'm just tired of this holier than thou bullshit that CM Punk has been on. And that quote really kind of, yeah, whatever. He also spoke candidly about his backstage altercation with AEW wrestler Jack Perry, aka Jungle Boy, after the It's Glass situation. If you're unaware, the wrestler Jack Perry, Jungle Boy, wanted to do a spot that involved real glass, and he was told not to by CM Punk, which then led to an altercation where he made reference to it on a pay-per-view, and then, you know, I'll get into the rest right here. CM Punk said, quote, "Why do you insist on doing this dumb internet shit like on TV?" And he was like, if you've got a problem with it, do something about it. And I was like, come on, man, I'd fucking kill you. What are we doing, you know? I thought I was doing the responsible thing. I didn't punch anyone. I just choked somebody a little bit. Samoa Joe was there, told me to stop, and then I quit. I turned to Tony Khan and said, "This place is a fucking joke, man. You're a clown. I quit." There's a lot to unpack here in this quote. He's kind of talking about when there was an incident during the All In pay-per-view where Jack Perry wanted to do this spot involving glass. CM Punk told him no. So on the pay-per-view, he knocks on the windshield of a car and says, "Real glass, cry me a river." So after that, CM Punk apparently went up to him and said, "Why do you insist on doing this dumb internet shit?" Which I have a problem with. It's like I said before, it's like, how very not Punk of you, CM Punk. How much Jim Cornette are you listening to, CM Punk? Like, where is this fucking mindset? Like, I appreciate CM Punk is very open-minded about, you know, the world. You know, he was very adamant about, like, you know, talking about trans rights on AEW and on TV. But why is he so narrow-minded about wrestling? If these wrestlers want to fucking cripple themselves, like, who cares? It's not your right to act like a fucking dad, you know? It's their life to live. And if it doesn't fit into your little fucking All Japan in the 80s bullshit, like, come on. Anyway, I just want to say, at this point, does AEW have to make a statement? I want them to, but I don't think they should. This is very damning, and I mean, we know all the stories from everybody else's perspective, and CM Punk makes it seem like I calmly choked this dude out. That's not how it happened. We now have all the perspectives on this fight. He does in the interview bring up the brawl out, but he does state that he signed an NDA and can't really talk about it. Oh man, the shoot interviews we get in the future are going to be crazy when those NDAs run out. I think it's just, I think a lot of wrestlers are just feeling the pain right now. A lot of wrestlers are hitting their mid to late 30s, and they're starting to hit this, like, what does it all mean? Why did I fuck myself up for this? And I think it's just causing a lot of fights. I think some people are being proactive. I think, you know, you're seeing Cody be like, no, I bet on myself, and now it's working out for him. Kenny Omega is kind of in a really sad place, being hit with diverticulitis. I think he obviously is the best ever. And, you know, on his recent Twitch streams, he's been kind of poo-pooing his AEW run, and I don't think he truly believes that. I think he's just sad. I think when your body doesn't work the way it always worked, I think that could cause a lot of depression. When suddenly the thing that you thought would be the same forever just isn't working the right way. Like, I could see that causing a lot of depression. So, what a great way to end this podcast. Just getting really fucking sad. That was wrestling news, everyone. And that will conclude this week's episode of Johnny. What do I call this shit? Johnny Cast. I do in the future want to answer questions and stuff. So if you have any questions, please email me at johnny@mega64.com, MEGA64.com, JOHNNY. If you want to tweet at me, I'm at Johnny13. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm at catboy_slim. Yeah, hit me up. I want to answer some questions on here. Maybe I'll do a hotline like old Mega Strange episodes. Yeah, I appreciate you guys for listening. If you listen all the way, please give this a like. That really helps me out. Subscribe if you aren't, if you're just listening to this, or if you're hate listening to this, subscribe, and then you'll be able to hate listen more. All right, shouts out. Have a good morning, night, whenever you're listening to this. Goodbye.